Hi, my name is Joyce Gray, and I'd like to share with you my very favorite author, Pearl S. Buck, who wrote several, 23 books to be exact. Here are two of hers, The Living Reed and The Pavilion of Rimmon, one about Korea, one about China. She was an extraordinary woman who won a Pulitzer Prize for her novel, The Good Earth. She was a missionary child from China, then became a missionary wife, and a prolific writer, of course, about the Chinese people. Her life was filled with the dedication to these people, and yet it was filled with heartache and fear as she ran through some troublesome times. She was born to Presbyterian missionary parents in 1892 while they were back in the United States after losing some of their children to tropic fever there in China. But at age 5 months, her parents took her back to China in their love for the people and their dedication to their missionary efforts. They were forced to flee China in the Boxer Rebellion and then returned again in 1901. She was schooled at home by her mother in the mornings and by a Chinese tutor in the afternoons, so she really got an insight into the Chinese life and culture. Her formal schooling included boarding school in Shanghai and also the college in Virginia, and where she learned psychology and became a professor herself in that. Later she went back to China to care for her ill parents, and there she met her husband, John Lossing Buck. Their marriage resulted in a child named Carol. Carol was mentally retarded, and Pearl refused to accept that fact and tried to cure her in any way possible. After coming to the United States for medical help, she realized that she would have to put her in an institution, which is what she did, and returned to China and her husband and her work there. However, this disappointment never left her life, and I think it was the deciding factor that sent her back down, spiraling from her deviation from her faith. In 1932, she came back to the United States and delivered a speech before 2,000 women, Presbyterian women, on the topic, "Is there a case for foreign missions?" She stunned the audience as she talked about the problems with missionaries and their authoritative, unchangeable blinders to what the people really needed. They were so offended by her remarks that a few years later they took away her missionary commission. That view that she had was so aggravating to the people. In 1966, there was a Gallup poll that placed her in the 10 most admired women despite this controversy that surrounded her. She continued to write about the Chinese people, and her books were banned in China because they were so authoritative. However, later, after the modern days, her books were allowed to be read. She struggled to align the traditional missionary work of saving souls with the harsh reality that she saw the people endure. She saw the people not only embrace the religion as a token to the Chinese missionaries, but also to keep their own religion at the same time. This controversy raged in her life as she tried to find her way, but the only thing she did was deviate from the Christian faith, completely turning her back on the salvation of Jesus Christ. She left China in 1934, never to return. However, she did continue to write about the people. She refused to support any organization that was Christian-based, and yet she founded several organizations, one for an adoption agency for American Asian children and one for humanitarian agency for American Asian children. Her death in 1973 ended a prolific career of writing, and it gave us all a legacy into the Chinese people and culture, and also the children that she helped over the years. However, her views of faith are sadly disappointing as we look at our favorite author. Thank you very much.